today we're getting rid of this and we're replacing it with this. So let's get on with it. That's right guys, welcome back to the channel, hope you're all well, and today we are cutting the side of the van out and putting a bonded non-opening window in its place. So yeah, we're going to be actually cutting this whole panel out and there's no wiggle room for it. It either goes right or it goes wrong. So yeah, point of no return. Let's get inside and just go through what we're going to be using to do today's job. So welcome to the workshop guys. So this is our bonded window, which is just a single pane of glass designed to go into the V80 sliding door. Now you can get these in an opener, but we just decided to have a fully bonded non-opening window because we've got another window which is also going to go on the side of the van, which is an opener with blinds and fly nets. So this is what we wanted, but basically what we've got to do is cut out that raised edge around the door and then bond this in place. And what we're going to bond it in place with is this Fixall high-tack Gorilla sealant, which apparently is super strong. So it's designed for metal, it's designed to be UV resistant, and it's designed for exterior use as well. So I've got a couple of tubes of this. This should be more than sufficient to bond that in place. Obviously we bought the suction cups to hold the window as we bond it in place, but before we do any of that we've got to cut that ridged area out, and what we're going to use for that is some masking tape to mark where we want to cut out. Then once it's marked out, we're going to cut it out with the Milwaukee M12 jigsaw, which is a new purchase, but you haven't seen this in action yet because, spoiler alert, I've already done some work inside the van which you haven't seen and I haven't made a video about, but I've already used this. But this is the Milwaukee M12 jigsaw which I'm going to use to go around the van. And if that doesn't work because it's rigid or ridged, I might have to use the Milwaukee M12 cut-off, which is essentially a small grinder with some metal cutting discs, but that will be quite long to do that, so we want to try and avoid it. Once that's done, we're going to file it off, paint and protect the edges, bond the window up, squash it in place. So yeah, let's go back out there, mark the window up, show you where I'm going to make the cut, and then we can get on with it. So when I talk about the ridged area that we've got to cut out, I'm talking about this area here. So essentially we've got to cut around this ridge so we leave this nice flat edge which the window will bond onto. So obviously once this is cut out, we'll file this edge down. There is some rubber edging to go along this, and then we'll bond along here, and then the window gets put in place. Now the reason we chose this window is because obviously it's curbside here in New Zealand, also Australia and the UK should we ever ship this van home. Obviously if it was a US van you'd probably do it the other side, but we are the near side of the van. And what also that means is we can lose these horrible little pimples, which we've got a couple of these on this panel. But before we do any cutting, we've got to run some masking tape in here so that we get a nice sort of reasonably decent cut. And then I'm just hoping that the jigsaw fits in here because it'll run smoothly on this part, but then it'll probably drop into this gap a little bit here. So I'm hoping that we can still use the jigsaw along there. So yeah, until I've actually drilled a hole and got the jigsaw in position, I don't know if this is actually going to work, which is why I've got the backup plan of the Milwaukee M12 mini cut-off tool stroke grinder. So let's get this masking taped up. Ugh, that didn't work. Oh, God's sake. Fucking masking tape. Finally, I know why this is crap and kept on breaking. No nonsense, screw fix rubbish. Well, that was harder than it needed to be. Now before we do any cuts, I'm just going to do a little guideline with my marker pen around the edge of the raised bit, and then I can see where I need to cut with the jigsaw. Of course, before we get all excited and start cutting this out, we actually need to drill some holes. So let's do that, and then we can get the jigsaw in. No turning back now. So that ain't ideal. It's broke my jigsaw blade, but I was finding it really difficult to keep a straight edge, because as suspected, this is pushing the jigsaw over all over the place. So, and I think this is broke because it's got a support the other side. So I might have to go to the other plan with a mini grinder. So quite clearly this sitting on there just isn't working because it's pushing it all over the place. So we're going to have to give up with this idea and try using the metal cutting disc, and then we can get a much more accurate cut and try and save this situation. Hi, there we go. Well, that didn't go to plan, did it? Things rarely do. Let's turn around and have a look. So there we go, it was all going so well up there, and then the jigsaw kicked off. So now we've got this bit hanging here. We have still got enough material to bond to, but it's just not ideal. And then I've gone round in the grinder and that has worked absolutely perfectly, to be perfectly honest. So maybe I should have just done that from the start, but it is what it is. It's done now, but fortunately we haven't completely ruined it, because as you can see, we haven't got a side to the van. It's currently over there. Next job, peel all the tape off, file back this edge, clean it up, bond up, stick the window in. I think this is going to be alright, but I think I'm just going to cut that flap off because that's no good to man or beast really. But we live and learn. Don't try and use a jigsaw in a rigid area. I did say it before I did it, but I should have gone with my gut. Should have just done it with a grinder, but you live and learn. I can hear people in the comments going,
Campervan.
So we finished our painting around the window frame on that bare bit of metal, and that's all nice. You can see a little bit of spill over there, but then this kit, as I showed you earlier, comes with this rubber trim. So I've now put that in position on that bare edge, and obviously that just covers it over to give you a better finish out inside, I think. What it also does is bridges this mistake here, but yeah, we'll come to that at the end of the video. However, what we're going to do now is pop inside and start to prep our window. So we've got our window here, we've got the sucker cups already in position. Didn't want to take them off because they didn't seem to stick very well, which I was a bit concerned about, because when I'm lifting it up I don't want it to fall on the floor and shatter. But now I've probably said that, it might well happen and you'll witness it, but hopefully it doesn't. But anyway, what I'm going to do is just clean all this edge off with the terps again, and then make sure it's ready to be bonded. And what I'll do is I'll put the sealant on ready, and then just pick it up and squash it against the van. Right, so that edge is all clean. So what we're ready for now is to start to bond up the side of the window here, ready to go against the van. But I've got to read the instructions for this before I do that to make sure I'm doing it properly, just in case I have to put it on both surfaces. But what I did want to show you before I do that is this. Now this, I've already used this and you haven't seen it because it was for something I've done to the van which I didn't make a video for. But I bought this Milwaukee M12 electric mastic gun, and it is an absolute game changer, because I had a mastic gun disaster when it comes to the solar panel. But yeah, I had a mastic gun disaster, and I decided, because of I'm going to be doing a lot of masticing, or you know, using this sort of adhesive, I need something strong. So I bought the Milwaukee M12 battery powered mastic gun, which is an absolute game changer. Now watch this, see how satisfying it is. How good is that? Right, the moment of truth. No turning back. Oh God. Oh God. Got to get this right. Get it right, Kev. Get it right. Get it right, Kev. What's that look like? How's it looking? There's plenty of stuff in there, that's for sure. That level? Are we looking level? Right, well, the window's in place. It was a bit of a faff in the end. So yeah, you saw me get it all in place, and it's lined up really nicely. It looks lovely on this edge here, but one thing I did notice is it's sticking out a bit here, and it's obviously quite obvious because you've got white sealant down the side, which has bridged both, so it's nice, going to make a nice seal. But from here it looks like it's sticking out ever so slightly, and I think that is just literally the natural curvature of the window, which yeah, I'm not overly happy with. But it's made a nice seal at the top and all round the window, but it just seems like it's just proud a little bit, which yeah. And once it's all gone off on the outside, I would cut this away so you don't see this white, and I'll run a black bead of silicone down these edges again, just to double make sure that it is completely watertight. But for now, we've gone from that there to that there. So yeah, we've got a window in the van. So what I've done inside is I've brought the suction cups in, and this one I've put against this edge of the window where it's just bowing out a little bit, and then what I've done is tied it over to there to add a bit of tension to it, just so it sort of keeps it pulled in whilst the adhesive's going off. But as you can see, in most places the adhesive has spilled through, which is good, makes a nice seal. But I will run another bead of silicone or whatever, black silicone, around the inside to make sure it is completely watertight. One fitted window just ready to go off. So yeah, now we can start to picture. We'll be cooking here. Window will be there. You'll be able to see where you're parked up. Probably a bench seat here, bed up there. Yeah, we're chipping away at the jobs and getting them done. So one thing I'll show you before we go. So yeah, I didn't document it in any videos, but as you can see, I ply lined the floor. So I put some insulation, tinfoil insulation, self-adhesive underneath this, battened so I didn't have to screw down into the van floor, and then I've ply lined using 12mm ply, which to be honest is absolutely more than sufficient for the weight it's going to take. But as you've seen on this video, not everything has gone to plan. The jigsaw didn't work, which I had a gut feeling about before I started it, and then I've had to carry on cutting the window out with the grinder to get a decent finish because the jigsaw was just rocking around all over the place, and as a result of that I've cut it pretty wonky, should we say. So yeah, nobody's perfect, but I could have quite easily edited that out, but the point of this channel and the point of these van builds is to make mistakes, and if you do make mistakes, or not intentionally make mistakes, but if you do make mistakes, to show them so that in the future people don't make the same mistakes as you. So in this instance, with that ridged panel which I had to cut around the edge of, and then the way it sort of dips in and then out again, if you do come across that scenario, use a grinder with a metal cutting wheel. Don't use a jigsaw because you'll end up doing the same thing as I did, going off track and leaving not leaving as much material to bond to as you would like. But I think it's all going to be okay. Once that's dried off, that adhesive, run a couple of beads of silicone internal, externally, and it'll be absolutely fine, that window. And then once we've finished it off inside, you'll never ever know. So yeah, that's one tip. And then second tip, probably try and have two people to fit the window when it comes to the bonding. One to push it in and one to secure it in place, etc, etc. So, but yeah, that's it for now. But we've still got plenty of more jobs to do with this van build. We've got another flexible panel which is going to go on the roof to boost the input into the EcoFlow. We've got a roof fan which is going to probably be the next job, and then we've got a diesel heater which is on the way, and lots of other bits. So yeah, there's plenty of jobs to be cracking on with, which I will document some on here on YouTube. But for now, thank you very much for watching. That was me cutting a hole in the side of the van and putting a window in its place. So yeah, hope you're all well. Thank you for liking, subscribing, and interacting with the channel. Friends and family at home, we miss you. Hope you're all well, and we'll see you in the next episode. So bye for now.